Foster, and my husband and I farm here northeast of Mitchell, and I am the women's team chairman for the South Dakota Farm Bureau. We raise calves and we sell them as feeders, and we also do corn and soybeans and wheat as well as hay. The Women's Leadership Team's main objective is to assist South Dakota Farm Bureau in whatever projects that they are going to do. However, we also have a little agenda of our own, which includes farm safety, and that is more than just for farmers, but also to educate consumers about safety when they're coming across machinery that is on the road, and also advocating for agriculture by going into the schools and reading accurate ag books and just being whatever help we can to get agriculture's word out to our consumers.
I'm part of South Dakota Farm Bureau because there are less and less farmers in South Dakota as well as the nation, and we need the support. We need to support each other and to be available for information for other people. And that's one thing Farm Bureau does really well, is get information out on issues that we need to know about, as well as just the moral support of being with other producers and that are in the same boat that we are.
The holidays bring a sense of joy and warmth to the winter season for many. However, there are those out there who aren't as easily able to feel much of that this time of year. That's why the South Dakota Farm Bureau is looking to help. Sean Vanderwall and Cindy Foster, both with the Bureau, are joining us today to show us how the organization is working to blanket South Dakota to provide warm fleece blankets to first responders across KELOLAND. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us here.
So, South Dakota Farm Bureau is the state's largest ag organization, and they have a women's leadership team.
Correct.
And you two are both a part of that.
Yes.
Now, Cindy, can you just start off by explaining to us what this leadership team is and how you got to be a part of it?
The Women's Leadership Team, South Dakota Farm Bureau has been around for 103 years. The Women's Leadership Team has not been isn't that old, but we have been there for the majority of those years. We started out to assist Farm Bureau in whatever projects they need help with. And since that time, it's morphed a little bit that we have kind of have our own little agenda, so to speak. We are very much involved with ag education, be it to students, be it to consumers and adults. And the other thing that we really are focused on is safety in agriculture for those of us who are in production agriculture.
Now, one part of your guys' mission is books.
Yes.
Explain to me what this looks like each year, and then you have the two that are for this year.
For the last at least 10 to 12 years, South Dakota Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Team has chosen either one or two books for a year that we really focus on, and county farm bureaus purchase these books and put them in their schools, in their libraries, in doctors or pediatricians' office, anywhere where consumers and kids may be. And FFA students also use them a lot when they are out helping educate younger students. This year, one of our books is Full of Beans, Henry Ford Grows a Car. This was the American Farm Bureau Foundation for Agriculture's book at the last convention. And it's dealing with soybeans. Henry Ford, if the World War II wouldn't have broken out, we probably would have a whole lot of soybean cars running around right now, made with soybeans, not just fuel. Mm-hmm. And so it's a really accurate and interesting book. There's some activities in it. That is one that's available. And so that's our ag education. This one is...
one that will make you cry.
Well, if I tell the whole story, yes, it will. Staying Safe on the Farm with Jackson. This is a book that is in memory of Jackson Boomsma, who was tragically run over by a tractor on his grandpa's farm. This book was written by the family to help in the healing and to have Jackson's life have a purpose, even in death. And it is a wonderful book, and we are promoting that this year also. And we can get as many as we need. Both of these books are available from South Dakota Farm Bureau, and we know how to ship them. But we have many county farm bureaus that are out there also getting them out so people can watch and learn and watch and do the activities, because both of them have some activities.
which is perfect for hands-on learning and
Yes.
education in that aspect. But you're also doing something again this year. And let's go back, because you did this prior, but it was the tie blankets. And that was,
Yes.
Sean, in the honor of the 100th year celebration.
Yep.
Why bring it back now? In a different way, though.
We just felt that the community, the law officers, the fire departments, the first responders needed something in their trunks when they come upon an accident. So we kind of brainstormed, and we thought Blanketing South Dakota would be a good one.
How are they made?
They are made, well, we actually just cut off the raw edge or the seam and literally just cut or sew about 1 inch in all the way around. Nothing fancy.
And they're made with love.
Made with love. The stitches might not be really straight, but that's all right. You'll never know.
And one of the jokes that we had, when we had 2 cut and sew parties, and it was at Sean's house up near Brookings. And it was like, our mantra was, these may not win a purple ribbon, but some kid's going to love them.
Yes.
Well, and they get the job done. I mean,
Yes, and they're washable
If I'm
and-
freezing and I just got in an accident and someone puts a blanket on me, I'm not going to be like, that's not really well sewn. I don't want to use that. Like, that's not something people look at. And you put a little embroidered logo thing on it too, blanking our state, South Dakota Farm Bureau, which it just, I don't know. And you have different designs. It's not like you just threw pieces of fabric together. You really did make
no.
this thoughtful.
Poor Sean spent a whole day at a fabric store, and her Suburban went home stuffed to the gills with over 400 yards on the bolts of fabric. Then we had to cut it all.
Cut it all, sew it all, and then go back the next day and get another about 3 hours worth of more fabric to finish the ones that didn't have backs.
Because we didn't want them to have the same print if we could, both front and back.
Now, this got me thinking, too, because you've already sent some of these out and given them to these first responders and these individuals, but it got me thinking of ways that us in the community could get involved as well. If you could just explain how to easily make these, and we could deliver them ourselves. I mean, do we just call our local police station and just ask if this is something that they're
Your
looking
sheriff's
for?
department or your fire department, yeah. Sean,
that's good.
she has 2 sewing machines. She's our seamstress.
You're the expert.
And, well, I try. I try. Literally, just take the edge, and if it has the white binding on it, just cut that off and just sew it up, or just put it up to the next one. Make sure it's even and sew in about 1 inch, and that's all you do.
Just sew
All
right
the
around the
way
edge.
around, all the way around.
Sometimes fabric doesn't quite be quite square, so there have been times we trimmed a little bit, but hey, it works.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see that. And if you do know how to make a tie blanket, you could easily do that
definitely
as well.
you could. There is nothing wrong with the tie blanket. We just thought that we can probably get more blankets in a bag this way because they're not quite as thick as a tie blanket. Plus, a sewing machine, we had several sewing machines going, so we made kind of quick work. It took us 2 different days, and a couple of the ladies of my team that were in different parts of the state couldn't come, so we sent bags of just cut fabric to them and said, here, you got to sew them together, and they did.
Yeah. Well, these are so warm. I want to wrap myself up in this blanket right now. So thank you both so much for coming in and telling us how you're blanketing South Dakota in hopes to help. So thank you so much,
Thank
ladies.
you so much for having us.
Yeah.